Yes, now we'll discuss about the anatomy of the prostate gland. Prostate gland is a fibro-muscular glandular structure. It is situated in the lesser pelvis. If you make a diagram, this is pubic bone, this is urine bladder, this is urethra, and here is position of urogenital diaphragm. This is perineal body, this is urogenital diaphragm. Here is perineal body. This is membranous urethra. Here is position of this is rectum, this is anal canal. Here is anal canal. And this is position of the prostate. This is position of the prostate. Here in posterior side, in posterior wall of this prostatic urethra, here is prostatic utricle. And another thing, here is a ejaculatory duct. So here is ejaculatory duct. And here is position of seminal vessels. This is seminal vessel. Ureter. So this is peritoneal covering. Here is peritoneal covering. A pouch is formed. This is recto-vesical pouch. And here is a recto-vesical fascia of the Denon veneer. Here is recto-vesical fascia of the. This is recto-vesical fascia of Denon veneer is present. So this is recto-vesical fascia of the Denon veneer. And here is under fascia. Here lies loose connective tissue, and this is known as retropubic space. Retropubic space of Retzius. This is retropubic space of Retzius. And this is urogenital diaphragm. This is sagittal section. If you see in coronal section, you will find this is urine bladder, and here is prostatic part of urethra. Here is position of urogenital diaphragm. This is urogenital diaphragm. This is urogenital diaphragm. Here lies membranous urethra. This is prostatic part of urethra. Here lies prostate. This is prostate gland. And lateral to this, here lies levator ani muscle. This is levator ani muscle. Here, this is neck of urobladder. Here is urogenital diaphragm. And this is prostate. This part is prostatic urethra. And this prostatic urethra, if you see here, here a fold is present. Fold of the mucosa. Here forms the urethral crest. This is urethral crest. And on both sides of this urethral crest there is prostatic sinus. So this part is prostatic sinus. Prostatic sinus. In the prostatic sinus, there are numerous opening of the duct of the prostatic glands. So it has glandular part. So glandular part opens through these ducts into prostatic sinus. And here there is an elevation. This elevation here, in this elevation there is an opening. This elevation is known as verumontanum. It is also known as seminal colliculus. So verumontanum or seminal colliculus, this is this opening on the posterior arm. You can see this and the posterior wall. This is prostatic utricle, and this prostatic utricle opens here in the verumontanum. This opening is opening of the prostatic utricle. So this is opening of the prostatic utricle. In female, this prostatic utricle forms the uterus and cervix. This is analogous with uterus and cervix of the female. And lateral to this, there is another opening. Here is two ejaculatory ducts. So lateral to this, there is another opening. This is ejaculatory duct. So here you can see these are the two another openings here. Lateral to this is ejaculatory duct. So these are ejaculatory duct. And here is another elevation. Here is position of the ureter. This is trigone, and on posterior side here in this trigone area there is slight elevation. This is known as uvula mesaechi. This is uvula mesaechi. This elevation is due to underlying median lobe. Here is position of median lobe. This is median lobe. Due to this median lobe, small projection is present on posterior side. So this is median lobe. So if you see the shape of this prostate, it is like inverted cone. It is inverted cone like. It is like a chestnut like. It is like a chestnut or inverted cone in shape. It has apex, which is directed downward, and apex related with the urogenital diaphragm. It has base. Base is broad and related with the urobladder and neck of the urobladder. It has apex, base. It has four subsets. It has this anterior surface. This anterior surface is related with the retropubic space of retros. It has posterior surface. This posterior surface is related with the rectovesical fascia of Denon Villiers. This is rectovesical fascia of Denon Villiers. It has two inferolateral surfaces, right and left inferolateral surface, right and left inferolateral surface are related with the levator ani. Levator ani. So it has apex, it has base, and it has four surfaces: anterior surface, posterior surface, and two lateral surface, two inferior lateral surface. So you have four surfaces, and you have seen the relation of all four surfaces. And one important thing, this posterior surface is clinically important for the examination of the prostate. Per rectally, this posterior part is examined. From inner opening, its distance is about 4 centimeter. So per rectally it can be examined. In case of benign hypertrophy, when median lobe is enlarged, or in case of carcinoma prostate, where the posterior lobe is enlarged and irregular in shape, so this can be examined per rectally. So from inner to opening is inner opening to this level, length is about 4 centimeter, and posteriorly also related with the, there is seminal vesicle in upper part, and it is pierced by ejaculatory duct. So these are the structures related with the all substrates, apex, base, and it's, if you see its dimension, it is 4 centimeter into 3 centimeter into 2 centimeters, and its weight is about 8 grams. This 4 centimeter is transverse dimension. This is maximum transverse dimension. This is transverse dimension. And this 3 centimeter is vertical and 2 centimeters is anterior-posterior. So here you can see the transverse diameter is more than the vertical diameter. So this dimension is less in comparison to this. So transversely is more, it is more than the vertical dimension. Same example is present in the cecum. In cecum also, the vertical dimension is less, this vertical dimension less in comparison to transverse dimension. So here you can see transverse 4 and vertical is 3. And its weight is 8 grams. Lobes of the prostate gland. Anatomically, it has 3 lobes. 2 lateral lobe, 1 median lobe. But surgical lobes are more important. Surgically, it is divided into 5 lobes. So if you cut a transverse section, you will find, if you cut a transverse section, this is transverse section. Here is position of urethra. It is divided into 5 lobes. This is anterior lobe, which lies anteriorly in this diagram. You can see this is anterior lobe. This is anterior lobe, anterior to urethra. This is posterior lobe. This is median lobe, and this is lateral lobe, right and left lateral. So this is anterior lobe, and here you can see this diagram. If you enlarge this diagram, here you find This is anterior lobe, and here is position of ejaculatory duct. This is position of the ejaculatory duct. Here you can see this ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct opens here on either side of the prostatic utricle. This is opening of the prostatic utricle. So this ejaculatory duct opens on either side of this. Here is two openings of the ejaculatory duct. If you enlarge this diagram, you can see this is position of baromentanum, and here is position of opening of the prostatic utricle here, and here is opening of the ejaculatory duct. So two ejaculatory ducts open here. In relation to this, so above to this is anterior lobe, lies anteriorly to urethra. This is posterior urethra. This is posterior lobe, which lies posterior side, and in posterior part, the part which is above this ejaculatory duct. This is ejaculatory duct. This is median lobe. This is median lobe which lies above the ejaculatory duct. And this median lobe enlarge usually in case of benign hypertrophy of prostate. So this is median lobe. So anterior, posterior, median lobe. If you cut a section at this level, you can see this anterior lobe, median lobe, and posterior lobe. This section passes like this. This is anterior lobe, then urethra, posterior urethra, then median lobe, then posterior lobe. If you cut section from this level, only anterior and posterior lobe is present in that section. But here in section, anterior, median, and posterior lobe you can see. And on either side, this is coronal section. Two lateral lobes are present. So two lateral. So these are 5 lobes. These are surgically important lobes. And by the development, it can be divided into 2 zones, inner zone and outer zone. If you see this part, the inner zone, you can see in another diagram, here is position of this is inner zone, this is outer zone. Inner zone develops from mesoderm, from mesonephric duct. So as you know, this tribone develops from absorption of the mesonephric duct, which develops from the intermediate mesoderm. So mesonephric duct absorbs from here to here, from here, this part, from this part to this part. So it forms tribone of the bladder and also posterior wall of the prostatic urethra above this ejaculatory duct. So above to this ejaculatory duct, this portion, posterior wall, is formed by absorption of mesonephric duct. If you make a diagram here, so this portion is formed by absorption of the mesonephric duct. So this portion is formed by, here you can see under this portion is formed by absorption of the mesonephric duct, and this duct here, this part, this proliferates and forms the glands. So these glands are formed here. So inner zone glandular structure develops from this, which develops from the absorption of the mesonephric duct. And this outer zone, the rest part of this, except this area, rest part of this form this outer zone. So this outer zone is formed by rest part of the prostatic urethra and it is endodermal, and this inner zone is mesodermal. So this inner zone very prone to benign hypertrophy of prostate. Here medial lobe is formed. It is also related with this. So benign hypertrophy occurs here. And in posterior part, this part enlarged in usually in carcinoma of the prostate. So here carcinoma of prostate is common. And that thing. Now arterial supply, it is supplied by inferior vesical artery, it is supplied by inferior vesical artery, it is supplied by middle rectal artery, it is supplied by pudendal artery, internal pudendal artery. Inferior vesical, middle rectal and internal pudendal. Venous drainage by same veins ultimately drains into internal iliac vein, internal iliac vein. And one very important thing is venous plexus, prostatic venous plexus. Around the prostate gland, a venous plexus is formed. Here, if you see the peripheral part of the prostate gland, here this peripheral part of this connective tissue, it forms the true capsule. This is covering our true capsule of the this peripheral condensed part form the true capsule. And outside to this, there is false capsule. This is false capsule, which is formed by pelvic fascia. So this is false capsule, which is formed by pelvic fascia. So this is false capsule, this is true capsule. In between these true and false capsule, there is a plexus of vein, that is prostatic venous plexus. This is prostatic venous plexus. This prostatic venous plexus is surgically very important in case of removal of the prostate or prostatectomy. The whole part, the gland, is enucleated and left behind this false capsule, true capsule and this venous plexus. So three structures, false capsule, true capsule and venous plexus left behind, and remaining part is enucleated or removed during prostatectomy. Otherwise, there may be serious hemorrhage or serious bleeding. If you remove this true capsule and left this false capsule, then there is severe bleeding due to this venous plexus. And another important thing, this venous plexus is drains into Batson venous plexus, that is internal vertebral venous plexus. Around the vertebra and in the inner substance of the vertebra there is a venous plexus, then known as Batson venous plexus. Batson's venous plexus. So in this venous plexus communicate with this venous plexus through the posterior prostatic ligament. Posterior prostatic ligament. This and also anterior prostatic ligament here is which is attached to the base to prostate. Here is anterior puboprostatic ligament. This is two lateral puboprostatic ligament, and here these are two medial, right and left medial puboprostatic ligament. On anterior side, same there is posterior side, one ligament is present due to condensation of the fascia. So this venous plexus travels along the posterior ligament and reaches up to Batson venous plexus, which is around the vertebra. and within substance of the vertebra. Infection from this prostate may reach it to Barthelme's plexus, and through Barthelme's plexus it may infect the vertebra. Carcinoma of the prostate may easily reach to vertebra, and from vertebra it may vertically extend and reach into the cranial cavity also. We'll discuss in another lecture about the Barthelme venous plexus. This is very important, venous plexus. So you have seen the arterial supply, venous drainage. Here is also venous drainage. So most of veins accompanying the artery and drains into the internal iliac vein, but some veins, this venous plexus drains through the Barthelme venous plexus. Now lymphatic drainage, lymphatic from the prostate goes into the internal iliac and external iliac group of the lymph node. Nerve supply, it is supplied by sympathetic nerve. Sympathetic nerve is by L1, L2. Superior hypogastric plexus fibers comes into the prostate and gives supply to the prostate. Due to sympathetic fiber, this prostatic muscles contract and help in the ejaculation, and same times here the internal sphincter, internal urinary sphincter same times closed due to action of the sympathetic fibers, and due to this the regurgitation of the seminal fluid during ejaculation not occurs. So this is important for the prevention of the regurgitation of the seminal fluid into urinary bladder. In case of benign hypertrophy, this is examined by per rectal examination. Carcinoma prostate is more common in the posterior lobe, benign hypertrophy is common in the median lobe. So this is all about the prostate